Hello students, Jai Swaminarayan. My name is Professor Urvish Mewada, HOD Electrical Department, Sri Swaminarayan Institute of Technology, Bhat Gandhinagar. I am the subject matter of Industrial Instrumentation subject, which is in the 7th semester Electrical Engineering, and GTU subject code for this subject is 2170913. Students, we are discussing the chapter number 4, that is force and torque measurement. Students, in last lecture we have discussed the various types of load cells, and in that we have discussed the cantilever beam type load cell. Then we discussed the piezoelectric load cell, and then we discussed the torque measurement technique. In that we discussed the basics related to the torque, and then we discussed the inline rotating torque measurement sensor. So student, this is our lecture number 3 of unit number 4, and today we are going to discuss the topic number 5, that is various methods of torque measurement. So let us discuss how we can measure the torque of any instrument, any rotating instrument. So let us start with the first method, that is gravity balance method. So in this gravity balance method, this is the setup to determine the gravity balance method. So in this you can see that this is the shaft on which we have connected one arm through the bearing, and this is the scale. On this scale, having a specific radius, this is the radius which shows that the that we already discussed that T is equal to F into R. So from that, this is the say according to the rotation of the shaft, this pointer will set up the scale, and this is the force constant. Sorry, this is the weight which is hanged on this arm, and having the fixed weight, that is having say mass m. And the direction of the rotation, you can see that this is the direction of the torque which is produced, and this is the torque that is which is opposite due to the load. So in this method, the torque to be measured is balanced by torque exerted by mass m, which is placed at the distance r on the tangential arm. This is the tangential arm of this rotating shaft, because this is the shaft on which we are placing our arm, through which we are measuring the torque on say perpendicular to the shaft. And the method uses a constant mass. This is the constant mass that can be moved over the arm. So whenever this shaft rotates, then this pointer will set up a value, and that to balance the unknown torque. So alternatively, the balancing torque can be provided by keeping r constant and varying the mass. So we can vary the mass as per our requirement. So it is necessary that in both the cases the arm is kept horizontal, so that the distance r is perpendicular to the balance force mg. So from this you can see that, from that you can see that we have to keep in mind that we need to put a particular mass over here, so that we can keep a specific distance r between the rotating arm, and this is the mark where the pointer sets after the rotation. And the main disadvantage, the main dis disadvantage of the method is that since the shaft must be supported in bearing, so that's why there will be a friction torque at the bearings due to the force acting on the bearing, which may lead to an error. So due to the friction, opposite friction, which provides means this is we have hanged this arm on the shaft. So that's why as the shaft rotates, then the bearings also rotate. So due to that rotation, bearings provides the friction between the say shaft and the bearing inner parts, and due to the friction torque at the bearing, force acting on the bearing, which may lead to an error. So this error can be eliminated by providing the equal and opposite force. So from that we can measure an accurate value of the torque with the help of this gravity balance method. So this is how we can measure the gravity. This is how we can measure the torque using gravity balance method. So let us discuss the second point for the torque measurement. So mechanical torsion measurement. So torsion is nothing but the torque. So over here you can see the setup by which we can measure the torque of say mechanical torsion using the mechanical torsion meter. So this is the shaft, and we are measuring the torque of this shaft, and this is the calibrated disc having a scale printed on that, and this is the pointer which is remains steady on the means it is rotating, but whenever we use the stroboscopic method, then pointer will show the mark. According to that mark we can justify the value of the torque, and this is the direction of the rotating shaft, and this is the rigid bar which is connected on the shaft, and this is the rotating shaft, and this is the stroboscope is a device which can be used to measure the speed, or we can match the frequency of the rotation as well as the blinking of the light of this stroboscope lamp, and whenever this synchronizing take place, stroboscope will show the particular frequency of the rotation. Now this meter works by measurement of angular twist. So it is observed by the stroboscope, and the twist is observed on calibrated disc attached on the rotating shaft, and a stroboscope is used to measure the twist, say varying angle. So if we so whenever we put stroboscope over here, and then we set the blinking see, stroboscope is a device in which the lamp blinks lamp blinks, and we can vary the blinking frequency as per our requirement. So whenever we set that blinking to means frequency of that blinking to this rotating frequency, then and once this we can visualize this shaft is say steady on the light of the stroboscope, then that will be the rotating frequency or torque of that particular rotating shaft. So this pointer will show that steady mark when we set the stroboscope light blinking, and from that this pointer will remain we can see that that pointer is steady, but even if it is rotating, but we can set the frequency of the stroboscope such a way that we can see this shaft steady. So that will be the rotating frequency and the mechanical torsion of this rotating shaft. So this is how we can measure using mechanical torsion meter a torque of a particular rotating device. So let us discuss the next topic of the measurement of the torque. So optical torsion meter. So this is the setup of optical torsion meter. This is the mirror which is mounted on the shaft, and this is the say tension strip which is connected which is also mounted on the shaft. So in this meter uses the optical method to detect the angular twist of a rotating shaft, and the unit comprise of say two casting A and B. So this are the two casting which are placed on the shaft which is rotating, on which we are measuring the mechanical twist and torsion, which are fitted on the shaft having known distance. So this is the distance between A and B, and it is known. Then the casting are say connected to each other by a tension strip. So this is the tension strip which is mounted on the shaft, and which transmit the torsion, but has every little resistance to be bending. So this is how we can check the twisting between the twisting on the shaft. And when the shaft is transmitting torque, there is a reactive movement between the casting, which causes a partial inclination between the mirror attachment on the casting. So whenever the shaft rotates, then this two mirror say we can see the partial inclination between these two mirror due to the resistance of say the twisting. And the mirror reflects the light into a say graduated scale, and the deflection of the light ray is proportional to the twist of the shaft, and hence the torque is being measured. So this meter is useful for measuring torque developed by the steam turbine, and many more rotating devices. And the number of reflection per revolution of the shaft can be increased by increasing the number of mirror provided. So as if we want to increase the number of reflections, then we can increase the number of mirrors. And whenever the shaft rotates, due to the resistance of the twist, the position of the due to the position of the inclination between two mirrors, we can check this reflection of the light in terms of the torsion of the this rotating shaft. So this is how this optical torsion meter works. And let us discuss the fourth type of the torque measurement. So this is the setup of electrical torsion meter. So over here we can see that this is the shaft on which we have mounted the transducers. And this is having having say slotted discs, and on which we have mounted the lids to the say electronic unit. And that will be transferred to the electronic unit, and transducer gives output to in terms of electrical energy, and say rotation in terms of electrical energy. So this is the length between these two transducers. And the leads via these leads we can take out the electrical output in terms of means electrical output that measures the torsion of this particular device, particular of this machine. Now this torsion meter uses the two magnetic photoelectric transducer that are mounted against the slotted disc, which is shown in this diagram. And the measurement of torque involves the two sets of observations. The first observation that is made, that is the count the pulse from either slotted wheel. This gives the frequency of the speed of the shaft. So first of all, that the transducer which are mounted on the shaft is count the pulses from the either slotted wheel. This suppose this will measure this either slotted wheel pulses, or this will measure this pulse, the rotation of the pulses of this wheel. So any of these two will measure the count of the pulses, and then the wheel is of the wheel, and this gives the frequency or the speed of the shaft. And the second factor that we observe, that the measure the time between the pulses from the two wheels. So whenever the rotation take place, a transducer will measure the time between the rotation, time between the pulses. And this signal is proportional to the twist theta, the angle that we need to measure for the torque, and hence the torque of the shaft can be determined. So by combining the two signal, we can measure the electrical torsion of say using such setup. So in this what actually the setup is doing, so any one of the says transducer will measure the pulses of either part of the disc, and pulses of the either part of disc, and this pulses are describe the frequency or speed of the shaft. And the measurement of the say time duration between consecutive pulses of the two wheels, and the signal is proportional to the twist theta. So from that theta we can have the value of the torque using such setup. So this is the electrical torsion meter. By using this electrical torsion meter we can measure the torque of any of the rotating shaft. So this is the rotation of say direction of the shaft, and this is how we can set up the transducers on the shaft for the measurement of the rotation in terms of torque, and that torque is measured in terms of the electrical energy. So that's why it is called the electrical torsion meter. And we can convert this pulses or electrical output for the further unit for the clear measurement or say display unit, so that if the signal is improper to if signal is having low value, so that can be amplified and that can be uh, project on the the LCD display, so on which we can measure the torque of this electrical torsion meter using this electrical torsion meter. Now let us discuss the fifth strain gauge torsion meter. So in this you can see that on the shaft we have connected the four strain gauges at 45 degree to each other, and this is the say strain gauge location. From the front view we can see that R1 and R2 both are say opposite to each other. Similarly R3 and R4 both are opposite to each other, and between each transducer we have an angle that is 45 degree, and the output of this all the strain gauges or transducers are connected with the Wheatstone bridge. So in the Wheatstone bridge you can see that the placement of this resistance is R1 R3 R1 R2 and then R3 and R4. So this is how the strain gauges are connected, and the DC supply is say given to this setup, and the galvanometer which is connected across the strain gauge arms. So it is known that if the shaft is transmitting pure torsion and points at plus or minus 45 degree to the shaft axis are subjected to equal tensile and compressive stresses. So as we already discussed that whenever the shaft rotates, then the weight of the shaft doesn't allow the rotation. It means it doesn't mean that it will not rotate, but the weight and we can say frictional and windage losses will take place, and also the weight of the shaft doesn't allow to the rotation. So the load which is acts opposite to the rotation, and whenever the rotor try to rotates, the force acts on the opposite direction. So due to that the a minimum amount of compressive and tensile stresses will develop on the shaft of the on the shaft surface. So this fact is used in strain gauge type torsion meter, so to find the maximum shear stress acting on the shaft, from which the torque value can be easily calculated. So whenever the compression or tensile stresses are developed, that can be easily measured with the help of the strain gauges. So that's why the strain gauges are mounted on the shaft of the on the rotating shaft. Also in this diagram you can see that the first diagram A shows that the four equal resistance or equal resistance strain gauges are placed at 45 degree to the shaft axis, and in the figure B you can see that the connection of the gauges in Wheatstone bridge. So the system is quite sensitive and accurate, but it suffers from the difficulty to connecting wires, because the resistances are mounted on the shaft, and it is very difficult to take out the output from the rotating shaft on the steady Wheatstone bridge. So the slip rings are necessary when measuring such kind of measuring torque with such kind of method. And on the shaft on the shaft rotating at high speed, commercial strain gauge torque meters are available with built-in slip rings and speed sensor. So such kind of setup of the strain gauge are say available in the market for the measurement of the torsion of the rotating shaft. So slip rings are necessary when measuring the torque on the shaft, and rotating at high speed. Commercial strain gauge torque meters are easily available in the market. So the range of this strain gauge torsion meter is say 6 newton meter to up to 1 mega newton meter with full scale up to 40 mv. So for the full scale deflection we can measure torque of any rotating shaft from 6 newton meter to the 1 mega newton meter using this strain gauge type torsion meter. And whatever the compressive and tensile stresses develop, according to that the length of that gauges will change, and as the length will change, the resistance of that gauge will change. And initially when the shaft is not rotating, all the strain gauges will offer the same resistance. So this piston bridge will be not deflected, and this galvanometer will show the null. And whenever the rotation will take place due to the tensile and compressive stresses are developed on the shaft, so that the resistances of strain gauges which are mounted on the shaft will change due to the change in the length of the wire. This balance bridge will get deflects, or it will become unbalanced. And according to the unbalancing, the galvanometer which is connected across the arm, which show the deflection in terms of this is the electrical output of this rotating shaft, and this is already calibrated. So the strain gauge which measure the torsion, we can measure that torsion in terms of electrical output. So in the display unit, so this is the calibrated unit, and this will show the electrical output in terms of electric means mechanical physical quantity in terms of electrical output with the help of this strain gauge torsion meter. So after this presentation, you have the this is your assignment question, that is state different method. This is the say typing mistake over here. State the different method used for the torque measurement, explain any one in detail. So such kind of question repeatedly asked in your GTU exam. So the related instructions which are written below the assignment question, please read it carefully, and you can take the snap of this slide. And if you have any query and any doubt after this topic, so we can solve your queries and doubt related to this topic in our doubt solving session. Please be remain over there. If you have any doubt or any query, we can solve your doubt and query in that session. And feel free to call me for any of the doubts or query related to any of the topic of your curriculum activity. So thank you very much, student. Thank you all. Jai Swaminarayan.